morning, good morning, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon comes evening. And welcome to the Mel Carr Thank You Lord production, Thank You Lord show. Today I have as my special guest Dr. Kimya Moyo. And we're going to discuss things like her school, her career, her family, whatever she wants to talk about. So without any further ado, say hello to our radio guests.
Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, based on whenever you're listening. My name is Kimya Moyo, and I am a childhood schoolmate of Mel Carr, and I'm happy to be on the TYL show today.
Thank you so much. I guess I'll take it just a little back. We were in elementary to junior high to high school, and then we went our separate ways. She went to Northwestern University, and I went to Central State University. Tell me about your college life. Did you have fun?
Well, you went to Central State, and and many of my friends went to Central State, and I've always not regretted that I didn't go to a HBCU, but I always admired those who went to HBCUs, to the point that I sent all my children to HBCUs. I went to Northwestern in 1965, which was, at that time, my freshman year. I was the only black girl on campus. And I remember my parents dropped me off at school, and I just started walking because I didn't, trying to figure out what is college all about. And I ran into these brothers, and they said, "Hey, come with us." Well, this was back in 1965. You just don't have men come up to you and say, "Come with us," and you go. But I did.
Did you?
I did. And what it was Northwestern at that time recruited black athletes, male athletes. And so the brothers that I had run into were the male athletes, and they were just as looking around for black folks as I was looking. and what they had done, there was a family in Evanston, Illinois, that pulled in all the black students at Northwestern, sort of gave us a home away from home, sort of to keep us at that school, I guess you would say. And so that was my introduction to Northwestern and to that family. And that family really became my family for those 4 years. And really ever since, we've just been very, very, very close since then, because they basically saved my life. Other than that, I know I would not have stayed at Northwestern. And there were 3 black girls on campus that year, me, another girl from Birmingham, Alabama, who was a senior, and another girl who was a sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Obviously, we became best friends.
Great.
And to this day, we still are best friends. We have vacations together every year. Our families are very close. We call ourselves Just Us Three.
Just Us Three. That's a good title.
Yeah.
Good name for your group. Tell me, educationally, you went on after Northwestern. Where did you go?
When I left Northwestern, I stayed in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And I was teaching. I taught on the west side of Chicago, in the public schools. And then I began working in on the side, working in a drama group called the Kumba Workshop. And the Kumba Workshop sort of introduced me to the Institute of Positive Education. And once I started working with them, we started a charter, not a charter school back then, but a independent black school called New Concept Development Center. And I left the public schools and started working for the Institute of Positive Education. And that was sort of like my turning point, where I realized that I developed my identity, and I sort of been on that path ever since.
Tell me, in reference to where you are currently, what is the enrollment and how many students are you dealing with?
You talking about the school that I'm starting now?
Yes.
Well, okay. Let me sort of bring that up to date. So I started working for the Institute of Positive Education. We started this independent black school called New Concept Development Center, which is still alive today. In fact, it is a charter school in the city of Chicago, and it even has 3 schools.
Oh, great.
In 1979, I left Chicago and went to Liberia, West Africa, and started a school there. And I stayed till 1985. In 1985, I came back to Cincinnati. And when I came back to Cincinnati, I started teaching in Cincinnati public schools. And in 1992, I sort of began to feel that what we had going in Chicago needed to be replicated in Cincinnati. So I started the Sankofa Educational Enrichment Program in 1992. It was obviously in person, and it was a Saturday school for high school students that taught critical thinking through African and African American history. We had that school till 2010, and when we closed in 2010, I wasn't quite sure it was really putting a lock on the door. And I guess it was the pandemic in 2019, yeah. When the pandemic happened, it sort of made me feel like maybe this is the time we need to rebirth Sankofa. So I started doing some Zoom sessions, trying to get people, some supporters together. And at this point, it has taken really those 2-3 years for us to get to the point to be able to say that we're ready to reopen our doors. We will be opening in March 4th. And this time, as opposed to being in person, the school will be virtual, and it will not be for just students. It is targeted for families. So our goal is to enroll families and provide engaging, enriching cultural activities that families can do so that they can grow and bond and learn together. So it's not about a number of people. We want, and because we're doing it virtually, it's open to anybody, anywhere, not just here in Cincinnati.
Explain to me and to the listening audience, what exactly is virtual?
Virtual means we are going to be, you have to have a computer. Okay. You have to have a computer, you have to have the internet. And the means of connecting will be through Zoom, the Zoom interface. So once a month, at the beginning, when we open, we will be having 5 cultural units per year. And we are anticipating that it's going to take each family probably about 2 months to complete all the activities that we have for that particular unit. All these units are themed units. Like the first unit is on identity. And so we're saying that it's probably going to take a family 2 months to complete the activities designed for the identity unit. We are anticipating it's going to take 2 months for all the units, all 5 units. And each of the units will be introduced through a Zoom session. And then after that Zoom session, then the families can, at their convenience, go online and access the activities and do the activities however the family chooses.
For each one of the units, if it's going to take 2 months, are you looking at 5 times 2 for each one of the phases?
Oh, yeah, but we're enrolling people for a year.
Okay.
So it's
1 year.
probably going to take longer than the 10 months that you're talking about, because the other thing is the families are going to do the units, and once a month or once per unit, we will have first the Zoom introduction, and then we will have a Zoom, what we call touch point. And a touch point is our opportunity to get back with the families to see how's it going, what questions do you have, what challenges are you running into, show us what you've done, upload your video, upload your, let us see the poster that you came up with. Because all these activities are not, this is not something where we say, go read that book and then answer these questions. These are things where the family together is doing things together to under the theme of whatever that unit is. So we have a touch point within each unit. And then at the end of the year, we have what we call our annual touch point, where we're asking all the families, wherever you may be in the world, to come together. So that may mean everybody coming to Cincinnati for the first annual touch point. And for that weekend, it's really a celebratory weekend because that means we have finished the first year. It's all the work that the families have done will be put on display so that everybody can see how everybody approached all these different activities. And we will have probably a big dinner and a speaker and, sort of a kickoff to the next year.
Well, tell me, how does a family, how do you recruit? How does a family have to have so many members of a family? Or
Well, it's, first of all, we define family broadly.
okay.
So, yes, a traditional family, mother, father, children, however that may come out to be, that would be fine. But we also are looking at family as maybe it's a church youth group, or maybe it's a youth group at a rec center, or maybe it's a group of homeschoolers that, are coming together to do these activities. However family is defined, it's required that there be an adult that is sort of managing and facilitating the activities. So if it's a youth church group, then as long as there's an adult that's part of the youth church group that is, helping the young people go through the activities and is sort of being responsible for the group.
Are your leaders considered being counselors or directors of each one of the 5 phases?
We have, at this point, for example, I'm going to be responsible for the first 3 units, and then we have other Sankofa, that's part of the Sankofa curriculum team. That will be, the curriculum team is handling the sessions and the activities. Yes.
I have a question, and I don't know if this is personal, but funding. Funding. Has the state or local government, federal monies or grants come your way?
No, in fact, we'd love to have somebody who could do some grant writing, or be a fundraising captain or something like that. No, when we closed Sankofa in 2010, whatever funds we had then translated over, because I didn't do anything with it, it just sat dormant all that time, and it translated. So that gave us like a small working budget for where we are now. So we have always been in the position of looking for funds. Yeah, in fact, we did Sankofa from 1992 to 2010. So that was 18 years where we functioned, but it wasn't like we were, we didn't have any state funds or anything like that. So yeah, we're open for donations.
How has the public received the upcoming school, and what do you think would be the best marketing piece for local Cincinnati to learn about it, Hamilton County, the state of Ohio?
We have a marketing team, and we do have a social media presence, but we are also dealing with a whole bunch of email marketing, sending our information via email through our own personal networks. And the thing is, as I said before, this is not a local endeavor. Since it's virtual, it can go well beyond Cincinnati. And that's our goal, to reach as many people in other cities as possible. So we are in the process of, soliciting people to help us spread the word as much as possible.
Okay, that sounds great. In reference to other schools that are in the community, are they trying to copy any of your aspects of your 5 phases?
Well, we haven't really put it out there.
Okay.
I mean, that nobody really even knows what the 5 phases at this point are the 5 units. And I don't think, it's not about competition in that sense, in that this program is targeted for families. It's not an online Black History course. You can get online Black History courses. All you got to do is Google it, and you will get a wealth of opportunities for people to learn Black history. Our program is not the same in the sense that it really is for families. So if it's for families, the father or the adult can't say, okay, you go over there and read that book and answer the questions, because that's not the kind of activities that we're talking about. We're talking about, for example, in the identity unit, we're saying, okay, who are you? What do you know about yourself? What do you know about your family? What do you know about your city? So our activities are going to have the family going out into the city of wherever they live. And, well, what is that street's name? What is that? Where'd that name come from? Like in Cincinnati, who is Ezra Charles? I mean, we drive down the street all the time. Do you know? How did any of these names come about? What develops a community? what kind of things do you think are important for a community to have? Oh, well, if that's what you think is important, let's survey your community. Go out into your community, and you say a community should have schools and libraries and stores, grocery stores, and all these things you say that a community should have. Well, let's go out into your community and see. Does your community have that? Oh, no stores? Oh, no gas stations? Oh, then what is that saying? If our community is deficit in some areas, then what is it that you, the family, needs to do in order to complete that deficit? So what we're saying is we're recognizing that families, our community, our people, we have a major role to play in how it is that we live. And we can sit back and say it's up to the city council and the government. We can do that as long as we want. But we've been saying that as long as we want, and we still ain't got what we need. For example, Avondale, do we have the grocery stores that we need? And if we don't, then what role do you play as young people, as adults? What role must you play in order to get out there to see that we get it? So we're trying to make people aware of the role. The question always is, what are you going to do? So we're trying to raise awareness about your history as well as what's going on currently, make some connections, and put people in the driver's seat so that we can get something accomplished and get some active people in our community.
Wow. You mentioned earlier that you might possibly be looking for some grant writers. So to my listening audience,
Yes.
Please call in, and we can see if we can get something coordinated and get some things going
That'd be
for
great.
possible future funding.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, let me just digress a little bit. What has been the most satisfying element or piece of your career?
Well, I've been an educator. I've always known that I wanted to teach. I think what is very satisfying is seeing the young people that I've worked with, that I've taught, seeing them and watching them grow and watching them become the men and women that they have become. I think that anytime you teach and can begin to touch the hearts and souls of children and then be able to, it's sort of like watching a seed actually grow into a flower. Those things are satisfying to me.
Dr. Kimya Moyo, will you let our listening audience know how they may contact you?
Sure, thank you for asking. The number that they can call is 513-399-6495. And to get more information about the Sankofa program, they can go to www.theantiracismacademy.com/Sankofa Explorations. That's www.theantiracismacademy.com/SankofaExplorations. Thank you.
Thank you.